Terence, you're on the air. How are you this
Hello.
evening?
Sorry.
Hello.
I'm good. I'm a little sick and a little hoarse, but I'm here.
Hello. Welcome to Secular Sexuality. What would you like to talk about?
It was more of a question about an earlier concept that was talked about just like a few minutes ago before you guys were talking about non-binary people. It's more of a question about like I guess the atheist movement. I'm talking about like, so when I talk about the atheist movement, I'm talking about like the new atheist movement that started with the Four Horsemen, like Dennett, Dawkins, Harris, and Hitchens.
Yeah.
And then like until now. So I always wondered, why is it that for some reason, like, the representation in the atheist community has always been like white and cisgender male. Like, and now we're just starting to get like a lot more activists who are like Shannon Hugh, Rachel Oates, just to name a few activists that I love a lot. They're awesome. I love their channels. And people like, what's your name again? Miranda? Or what's?
Mandisa?
Oh, Mandisa. Sorry, I'm bad with names. And now it's like, why? And I'm just curious, is it because of a matter of who has access to the platform? And like, how has that affected how much ground our movement has been able to make?
Yeah. Wow, that's a really good question.
I dig that question.
Yeah,
so
that
hard.
could be an entire conference just about that. Plug for Mandisa's conference later.
Yeah.
Yes. So here's the thing.
No, I would go.
Yes, I will jump right into that. Yeah, please.
Yeah,
Wait, there's the Women of Color Beyond. There's a Women of Color Beyond Belief place in Chicago in 2 weeks. The ocbeyondbelief.com. If you cannot attend, you can certainly support it. But here's the thing. I think that there are people who know that there's a history of free thought and humanism and atheism within the Black community, present, even if it has been obscured. And you would have to at least have some good insight or have done some study into certain marginalized communities to understand this, and understanding, of course, the institutional factor that comes along with the Black community in particular. However, it hasn't always been erased. And as a matter of fact, one of my colleagues, Chris Cameron, just released a book called Black Freethinkers about the historical presence of freethinkers, etc. But yes, there is an access and more for white men in particular, folks, that there's there's definitely more resources. There are more white, more deeper pockets. So therefore they are allowed, or they've been able to push what is important to them. And so I know for Black non-believers, is, for example, we didn't wait for people to recognize us. We saw that there was a problem with representation. We saw in the Black community with with the high number of religious folks, but we had to do something about it. And so, and I think that's what's happening, with the, with the representation in the movement, is that there's more of us out here. There are more of us who are, there are more scholars, there are more activists out here. And when the question is called, because the question is always called about where are the people of color, where are the women, where are the young folks, it's a matter of, yes, definitely making sure you are looking to see what's out there. And if you are sufficiently supporting us, I won't say them, us. So there's definitely, and we don't want to discredit, like the Four Horsemen. There are a few of them that say some really, really bad things that, but yes, again, we're going back to, yes, we are now creating, we've been creating these platforms, and we're now able to do it because now the timing is right for, there are a lot of folks, those religious beliefs they're questioning those gender norms, those sexual norms, and we are in a very continue to make our voices heard and work together with those who who understand and who identify. So that the shift is coming, and again, it's this conference is open to everyone. We want some of everyone there to hear aren't who you don't hear from often, if at all, because the work age a lot of trying to build up the leadership pipeline within the secular community as an organ. The more we do this and the more support we receive from our allied organizations, the more this will change. So thank you for that
Wow.
question. It's a very, very good one.
Definitely. I'd also say real quick that I don't think it's a coincidence. Can't say for sure, need to do more research. But I wouldn't say that it's a coincidence that growing percentage of atheist spokespeople, atheist activists, people in this community are becoming more diverse, and you're seeing different people from different walks of life and different races and not denominations. Jesus, Christian speak coming in. But it's not a coincidence that all of this is happening as we are getting access to people through the internet. So as things like YouTube becomes a bigger platform, and as more people get on Twitter, and as people just start putting their stuff out there, and it's no longer being gatekept to the extent that it used to be, that's one of the reasons we're seeing kind of a growth spurt right now, I would say. So it's not like we weren't there before. It's just that now we aren't being kept out.
That makes entirely a lot of sense. And
correct.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, did I interrupt you?
No, you didn't.
Did I interrupt? Oh, okay. I just want to make sure I didn't cut you off or anything like that. I guess that's a lot. Wow. Okay. First of all, I'm gonna have to read that book that you recommended me, and I'd like to know. And also, as far as some of the things that have been happening with the Four Horsemen, you said that they used to have rhetoric or something that would say that was prejudice. I'm curious about this because this is part of the part of the atheist movement I haven't seen.
Yeah, there are problematic things that have been said. Yeah.
So Richard Dawkins and some of his tweets that are very, very, that can be very misinformed, and that Twitter is not a good place for someone who themselves in the longer setting. That was just, there are a lot of things that he has said that have been deemed very insensitive to people, and I think that many in the community favor the whole facts and logic thing over how to treat people, over compassion, something that needs to be taken into consideration. For you also had Sam Harris, who has someone on his podcast, this curve, and dismissing, and dismissing the talk about race as being racial identity politics, and which is extremely, extremely dismissive, and that could be also seen as racism. So they're very they're very well versed in certain areas, but then they're being on areas in which they probably should not. They should be deferring to others, but then they feel like they have the right to speak on it. And the whole thing about just being quiet applies to those who think they are subject matter thing. And yes, that has been an issue with those two particular horsemen.
That's very interesting. I'm gonna have to read more into this. And I've also heard, not that I'm trying, I know that of course it was any movement or anyone. There's flaws to anyone, right? But I guess it's just interesting to see how, what progress still needs to be made within our own movement. I think this is just a way of, like you said, how this is going to help with the growth spurt in the long run, because then everyone won't feel alienated, So.
Oh, definitely. I think that's one of the best parts about this community, is that when it's working right, and this isn't always the case, but when it's working right, it is a group of skeptical thinkers who don't hold anyone above criticism. So we can say, yeah, Dawkins fucked up, or, you know, Harris has some really shitty ideas and bad people on his podcast. And that's totally okay, because they aren't the popes of atheism, you know? They are just other people.
Yeah.
Right.
And we get to call that out as just other members of the community.
Yeah, that makes a lot. Wow, that's really insightful. Thank you so much for everything. I'm gonna read a little bit more up on this. If you guys have any references besides that book, do you guys mind shooting me an email or something like that about with more information, or I could provide it to the operator?
Yes. Let me see. We will have any references that we talk about listed in the description once this goes live.
Okay.
But also, if you wanted to shoot an email to tv@atheist-community.org and just say that you called the show, I would be more than happy to do a little bit of research with you.
Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I don't know if we have time for this, but I actually had one other question that's a little different.
Sure. What's up?
Okay, so this is actually in reference to non-binary people, because I've been wrestling with my own gender identity for a long time. I've been out. First, I came out as like I use the term dummy male, but of course, like, you know, no word can encapsulate the entirety of someone's experience. This is the word I use to kind of tell people, like, generally what it is. Mm-hmm. And I was just curious, like, I don't know, I kind of feel conflicted, because the last few years, like, a lot of my friends at school, like, a lot of my girlfriends that are now transitioning to be men are, like, they're very... What's the word? Oh, how do I put this? Okay, so you know how sometimes, like you were talking about earlier, how some trans people will like criticize the binary trans people will criticize the non-binary people because they don't fit into what, you know, society conceptualizes as trans, and they're like, well, I don't know if you're trans enough, or et cetera, and then it gets into this whole conundrum with just policing people's gender identity, which is really unproductive in my opinion. But I was just curious, like, I guess as a person who's just like on the sidelines watching all this going on, and I'm like, I just don't know. I just know that I'm not a woman. I identify somewhere on the spectrum, and maybe I'm fluid, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. But like, I mean, and I can't tell you how much pressure I've experienced that I should fit into being a man. On some days, I honestly don't feel like a man, and like some days I have dysphoria. You know, that's more maybe what I would consider more like being a trans man. And some days I'm just like, I don't have no fucking clue, and I just feel like an androgynous human being that it doesn't, and the gender just really feels relative, you know. And so I just wondered, like, what do you have to say to people like to have a similar experience, and like, how do you, you know, one of my best friends who I go to an atheist skeptic group locally, she said, just do whatever the fuck you are. And like, that's such a beautiful quote, because it's true. And I just wanted to know, like, how, for someone somebody in my position, how would you navigate this? Like, do you have any advice?
Oh, gosh.
Especially if you're being swayed one way or the other.
Well, you're like, hello, friend. I am going through something of the same thing. I will call myself, to people in the LGBTQ community, because no one else understands, I call myself a femboy. Because that, to me, feels the rightest, but there is no one right. And yeah, I consider myself NB, and that's kind of as much thought as I've put into it at this point. But there is a lot of pressure from people who do feel an affinity for one gender or another, whether that's a cisgender or a transgender. It puts a lot of pressure on you, because not a lot of people exist in this space. And that doesn't mean that it's more right or wrong than another kind of existence. It's just, people in the middle freak people out a lot of the time. I'm also bi, and that freaks people out. It's like, well, are you actually gay? Like, well, yes, I'm very gay, but also I'm bi.
I would love to continue.
I just love
Mandisa, you go.
I just love the fact that all three of us have short haircuts, and anyone without would just assume that all of us were gay. So I identify as pan. I identify as pansexual, and I realize bisexual when I was a teenager. So not like 12. And because of the societal stigmas and norms, I thought there was something wrong. But as time progressed, I realized that it wasn't. But as it's in my activism and in my self-reflection, I'm sexual, but my preference is men. But it's there's just so much that, like, my hair does not define who I am. Does it mean that I'm more confident as an so but I just find it so interesting that we, as as our genders would be considered female, what our identities, and say what someone would just take a look and like, oh, look at those three dykes or whatever. It's sad how some people would say that.
There's a funny, just go off on a tangent for 1 second. I was watching a stand-up special by, I think it was Simon Amstel, and one part he was like, yeah, I was walking around and I saw this girl and I was like, ooh, is she interesting? She looks interesting. Or does she just have short hair? No, definitely it's just the short hair. And she's like, she should grow her hair out and stop false advertising that she's an interesting person.
Wow.
I love this question because what it makes me think about is our tendency to want things in black and white. We want it to be binary. We want labels. We want it to be clear. And whether you leave religion behind, whether you leave like misogyny behind, whatever it is that you surpass, that you overcome, there are still these tendencies in us to see something as binary. And I think that's what causes this lag in progressing forward with the different tiers of feminism that we're approaching. And so, like, this is what excites me, because there is no black and white. We are apes who make sounds with our lips, and like we've made some words that identify things, but those things are not that word. Those things are what they are. So our identities are not things. We are not labels. We are fluid. We are whatever we are. And so if your gender, how you see your gender changes, when you're 18, it feels kind of one way. 18 and a half, it feels a different way. Hour to hour, I don't fucking care. We don't need these fucking labels. We can just be. And that's what drives me crazy about culture and about humanity, that we are constantly wanting things to be black and white because we are terrified and we are afraid of death. And so we want organization and we want there to be purpose, and everything's in a cube and it's labeled, and like it's not. And I think the sooner that we can just release all of it and say, this is chaos, this is fucking nuts, and nothing makes sense, and I'm just going to sit with that, and I'm just going to let myself be whoever the fuck I am, and I don't need words. I know how I feel. And sometimes I feel like as soon as we evolved to use language, things got worse in a way. Like, it did help a lot. But at the same time, it started limiting us and reinforcing this tendency to want to put things into boxes. But please don't stop talking. Do keep using language. I'm just saying, push it. Just be whoever the fuck you are.
I think that was an amazing question, and one that I resonate with very deeply. So I'd say short answer is be who you are. If that changes day to day, hour to hour, that's also awesome, and explore that. I cut all my hair off and then bought some pink wigs that I haven't yet premiered on the show, but it's a first. It's like, okay, so one day I'm gonna get super femme and dolled up and play dress up, and then the next day I'm gonna walk around with no makeup and combat boots, and
that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's so much fun. Yeah. Just have fun with it for now.
Sure is.
Our lives are art,
there's
right?
nothing wrong with it. Yes.
No, of course not. Okay, so I guess another thing I've been asking my therapist too is, sorry, do you guys have to go on to another segment? I don't want to keep you too long.
I think we do need to jump to another caller and keep going with the show. Yeah. But if you do want to reach out to TV at atheist-community.org, or to me specifically at V at atheistcommunity.org, atheist-community.org, then we can definitely continue this conversation.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You guys are very insightful. I would love that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for calling.